We've all seen the pictures. Mansions that look like they belong in movies, sports cars that cost more than most houses, private jets whisking people off to exotic locations. It's easy to get caught up in the fantasy of being a billionaire. Imagine having unlimited funds to buy anything you've ever wanted. No more budgeting, no more worrying about bills, just pure unadulterated luxury. That's the dream, right? To live a life free from financial constraints where every whim can be indulged. The allure of such a life is undeniable. It's a world most of us can only dream of, a world often portrayed in movies and TV shows. But what's it really like to live like a billionaire, even just for a day? Is it truly all it's cracked up to be? Is it all champagne wishes and caviar dreams, or is there more to it than meets the eye? That's what I wanted to find out. I wanted to peel back the layers of luxury and see what lies beneath. Is it really all about the material possessions, the extravagant experiences, the constant pursuit of more? Or is there a deeper truth to be uncovered? Could it be that true happiness isn't found in the abundance of wealth but in something far simpler, something more profound? I decided to embark on a 24-hour experiment, a journey into the world of billionaires. My goal was simple: to experience firsthand what it's like to live with such extravagance. But more importantly, I wanted to understand the impact it has on one's outlook, on their happiness, on their perception of the world. I wanted to know if living like a billionaire for a day would change me, and if so, how. Going into this, I had my own preconceived notions about billionaires. I pictured them as living in a constant state of bliss, surrounded by luxury and devoid of everyday worries. But deep down, I knew it couldn't be that simple. Life, regardless of wealth, is full of complexities and challenges. I wanted to understand how billionaires navigate these complexities, how they find meaning and fulfillment amidst the abundance. Was it all about lavish parties, exotic vacations, and an endless parade of material possessions? Or was there a deeper layer, a sense of purpose and fulfillment that transcended the material world? These were the questions swirling in my mind as I prepared for this experiment. I knew I was about to step into a world far removed from my own, a world of privilege and excess. But I was determined to look beyond the glitz and glamour, to uncover the reality of living like a billionaire. One of the biggest questions I had was about happiness. Does money truly buy happiness? It's a question that has been debated for centuries. On the surface, it seems like having unlimited resources would make life easier, more enjoyable. After all, you'd be able to afford anything you desire, travel to the most beautiful places, and experience the finest things in life. But is that all it takes to achieve true happiness? I suspected that happiness was a far more complex equation. While money could certainly provide comfort and security, it couldn't buy genuine connection, purpose, or fulfillment. These were things that came from within, from pursuing passions, nurturing relationships, and making a positive impact on the world. As I embarked on this 24-hour journey, I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. I was stepping into a world completely foreign to me, a world of opulence and extravagance. While I was eager to experience the thrill of such a lifestyle, I was also aware of the potential pitfalls. Would I be seduced by the allure of luxury? Would I lose sight of the things that truly mattered? I knew that this experiment would challenge my preconceived notions about wealth and happiness. It was a chance to explore the human experience from a different perspective, to understand the joys and challenges that come with living a life of extraordinary privilege. I was ready to dive in, to embrace the unknown, and to share my discoveries with the world. The first stop on my Billionaire for a Day adventure was, of course, the car. We're talking about a sleek silver machine with more horsepower than I could even fathom. This wasn't just any car. It was the kind of car that turned heads and made people stop in their tracks. I'm talking about the kind of car that when you see it, you just have to know what it is, how much it costs, and what the owner does for a living. As I approached the car, I felt a surge of excitement. This was it, the epitome of luxury and performance. I ran my hand over the smooth lines of the hood, feeling the cool metal beneath my fingertips. The leather interior was even more impressive, smelling of wealth and success. As I slid behind the wheel, I couldn't help but grin. This was the life. even if it was just for a day. The engine roared to life with a satisfying growl and I was off. The acceleration was exhilarating, pinning me back in my seat as I navigated the city streets. For a while I felt like I was on top of the world, cruising around in my high-powered machine. But as the day wore on, a strange thing happened. The initial thrill began to wear off, and a new feeling crept in: stress. Every little bump in the road made me cringe, worried about scratching the pristine paint job. I found myself constantly checking my mirrors, paranoid about someone dinging my door. The fear of damaging this expensive piece of machinery was surprisingly consuming. It was almost as if the car itself was a source of anxiety, a constant reminder of the pressure to maintain such a high-end lifestyle. Section 3. Parking problems. And then there was the parking. Finding a parking spot in a crowded city is never fun, but trying to squeeze this luxury car into a space meant for a Honda Civic was a special kind of torture. The narrow spaces and tight angles made it feel like threading a needle. I circled block after block, my anxiety levels rising with each passing minute. The frustration was palpable and I could feel my patience wearing thin. When I finally did find a spot, it was so tight that I had to contort myself to get out of the car. It felt like a gymnastic routine just to exit the vehicle. And don't even get me started on the valet parking. The thought of handing over the keys to this automotive masterpiece to a complete stranger filled me with dread. It was like entrusting a priceless artifact to someone you barely knew. What if they scratched it? What if they dented the bumper? The mere thought was enough to make my heart race. The level of trust involved was astounding. It was in that moment that I realized owning a car like this wasn't just about the thrill of the drive, it was also about the constant worry and responsibility that came with it. The joy of driving was often overshadowed by the stress of maintaining its pristine condition. Section 4. More than just a car. As I reflected on my experience with the luxury car, I realized that it represented something much larger. It was a symbol of success, a status symbol that set me apart from the rest of the world. But it was also a barrier, a physical manifestation of the distance between the haves and the have-nots. I thought about all the people who would never have the opportunity to experience such a car, let alone own one. People who struggled to make ends meet, who worried about putting food on the table and keeping a roof over their heads. In that moment, the car felt less like a dream, and more like a reminder of the vast inequalities that exist in our world. Section 5. A change in perspective. My experience with the luxury car had been a roller coaster of emotions. The initial thrill of the drive, the stress of maintaining perfection, the anxiety of parking, and the ultimate realization of the car's symbolic weight. It was a lot to process. But in the end, it was a valuable lesson. It taught me that luxury, while alluring, could also be a burden. It taught me that true happiness wasn't about the things we possessed, but about the connections we made and the impact we had on the world. And it taught me that sometimes, the simplest things in life were the most rewarding. Next up on my billionaire adventure, a private jet. This isn't just any flight, it's a journey into the world of ultimate luxury and convenience. Now, I've flown my fair share of commercial airlines, and let me tell you, the experience can be, shall we say, less than glamorous. The hustle and bustle of crowded terminals, the endless security checks, and the constant rush to make it to the gate on time, cramped seats, endless lines, and the constant battle for overhead bin space. It's enough to make anyone long for a more luxurious way to travel. The discomfort and stress can really take the joy out of flying. So when the opportunity arose to experience a private jet, I jumped at the chance. It was an invitation to escape the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. This was my ticket to the high life, a chance to soar above the clouds in style and comfort. Imagine reclining in plush seats, sipping on fine champagne and enjoying gourmet meals at 30,000 feet. As I approached the gleaming aircraft, I felt a surge of excitement. The sleek design and polished exterior promised an experience like no other. This wasn't just a plane, it was a symbol of freedom and exclusivity, a world where the hassles of ordinary travel simply didn't exist. It was a sanctuary in the sky, designed for those who demand the best. No more waiting in line, no more security checkpoints, No more crying babies in the seat behind you, just pure, unadulterated luxury from start to finish. This was air travel as it was meant to be, effortless, luxurious, and tailored to your every need. A true escape from the mundane, offering a glimpse into a world where anything is possible. Stepping inside the cabin was like entering a five-star hotel suite in the sky. Plush leather seats, gleaming wood paneling, and state-of-the-art entertainment systems. The air was filled with the subtle scent of fresh flowers, and soft music played in the background. A smiling flight attendant offered me a glass of champagne and a selection of gourmet snacks. It was a far cry from the peanuts and pretzels I was used to on commercial flights. As the jet took off, I gazed out the window at the world shrinking below. The city sprawled out beneath me, a tapestry of lights and buildings. Up here, above the clouds, everything seemed different, quieter, calmer, more serene. For a moment I could almost understand the allure of this lifestyle, the freedom and detachment it offered from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. But as we cruised through the air, sipping champagne and enjoying the high life, something unexpected happened. We hit a patch of turbulence. Now, I've flown enough to know that turbulence is a normal part of flying. But for some reason, on that private jet, it felt different. Maybe it was the luxurious surroundings, or maybe it was the knowledge that I was miles above the earth in a metal tube, but that turbulence shook me to my core. Suddenly the lavish surroundings didn't seem so comforting. I found myself gripping the armrests, my heart pounding in my chest. The fear I felt in that moment was a stark reminder that no amount of luxury could shield me from the unpredictable nature of life. As I calmed down and the turbulence subsided, I couldn't help but reflect on the experience. The fear I had felt, however irrational, had cast a shadow over the luxury that surrounded me. It was a reminder that even in the lap of luxury, life's anxieties and uncertainties could creep in. It made me wonder about the billionaires who flew this way all the time. Did they ever feel that same sense of unease, that nagging awareness of life's fragility? Or had the constant exposure to such extravagance inured them to it? Had it created a sense of detachment, a belief that they were somehow immune to the challenges that plagued us mere mortals? That experience on the private jet, as brief as it was, sparked a shift in my perspective. It made me realize that true peace of mind, that sense of security and contentment, didn't come from material possessions or extravagant experiences. It came from within, from a place of gratitude, humility, and connection to something larger than oneself. It was a valuable lesson, one that I would carry with me long after my 24 hours of living like a billionaire were over. As I indulged in the billionaire lifestyle, a creeping realization began to dawn on me. It wasn't all sunshine and roses. In fact, the more I experienced, the more I began to sense a certain weight that came with such extravagant wealth. It wasn't the weight of the luxury watches on my wrist or the designer clothes on my back, it was a different kind of weight, a weight that seemed to settle in my mind and heart. It was the weight of responsibility, the constant awareness that with great wealth came great responsibility, a responsibility that extended far beyond myself. Every decision, every purchase, every interaction carried a certain gravity. I found myself questioning my motives, wondering if people were being genuine or simply trying to get close to the billionaire persona I was embodying for the day. With each passing hour, the illusion of security that I had associated with wealth began to dissipate. Instead of feeling carefree and untroubled, I found myself experiencing a heightened sense of vulnerability. The luxury car, the private jet, the expensive clothes, they all seemed to make me more of a target, more susceptible to envy, jealousy, and even potential harm. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, surrounded by all the trappings of success and security, yet I felt more exposed and vulnerable than ever before. It was a jarring realization, one that challenged my preconceived notions about the relationship between wealth and security. The more I accumulated, the more I realized that possessions, no matter how luxurious, could never truly satisfy the deepest longings of the human heart. The initial thrill of acquiring something new would inevitably fade, leaving behind a void that no amount of material possessions could fill. It was a never-ending cycle of desire and acquisition, a cycle that ultimately led to emptiness and dissatisfaction. I began to understand that true happiness, true fulfillment, came not from what we owned, but from who we were, how we lived our lives, and the impact we had on others. As my 24 hours of billionaire life drew to a close, I found myself feeling a sense of relief, a longing for simplicity and authenticity. The experience had been eye-opening, challenging my assumptions, and forcing me to confront uncomfortable truths about myself and the nature of wealth. I realized that the pursuit of material possessions, while tempting, was ultimately a distraction from what truly mattered in life. I had tasted the billionaire lifestyle, and while I could appreciate its allure, I knew deep down that it wasn't the path to true happiness. I craved something more meaningful, something more lasting, something that transcended the fleeting pleasures of wealth. As my 24 hours of living like a billionaire drew to a close, I felt a profound shift within me. The initial excitement and novelty had worn off, replaced by a deep sense of unease and a longing for something more meaningful. I realized that true happiness wasn't found in the opulence and extravagance I'd experienced, but in something far simpler, far more profound. It was time to trade in the luxury car and private jet for something far more grounding, far more fulfilling, acts of humility and kindness. I decided to spend the remaining hours of my experiment giving back, connecting with people on a human level, and experiencing the joy that comes from making a difference in the lives of others. No more lavish spending, no more exclusive experiences, just simple acts of kindness and generosity. My first stop was a local homeless shelter. I had walked past this shelter countless times before, often averting my gaze, feeling a mix of guilt and helplessness. But today was different. Today, I was determined to do more than just walk by. I wanted to connect with the people there, to hear their stories, and to offer whatever support I could. I spent the afternoon serving meals, listening to people's stories, and simply being present with them. I realized that behind every weathered face and every tale of hardship was a human being with hopes, dreams, and a story to tell. As I interacted with the people at the shelter, I felt a profound sense of connection, a sense of shared humanity that transcended our differences in circumstance. The act of giving, of offering kindness and compassion, filled me with a sense of purpose and fulfillment that no amount of material wealth could ever replicate. In that moment, I understood that true wealth wasn't measured in dollars and cents, but in the richness of our relationships, the depth of our empathy, and the impact we have on the lives of others. My 24 hours of living like a billionaire had come to an end, and I was left with a profound sense of gratitude for the experience. It had been a journey of discovery, a journey that had taken me from the heights of extravagance to the depths of human connection. I had learned that true happiness wasn't found in the pursuit of material possessions but in the simple yet profound act of giving back. I had discovered that true wealth lay not in what we accumulate but in what we give away, in the kindness we share, and in the connections we forge with others. It was a lesson I would carry with me always, a reminder that the greatest riches in life are often found in the most unexpected places. So what did I learn from my 24 hours of living like a billionaire? It's simple. Money doesn't buy happiness. Sure, it can make life easier, more comfortable, and open doors to incredible experiences. But true happiness, the kind that lasts, comes from within. It comes from the connections we make, the contributions we make to the world, and the gratitude we cultivate for the simple things in life. It comes from finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. Living like a billionaire for a day was an eye-opening experience. It showed me that true wealth isn't about how much money you have in the bank, but how much love you have in your heart, how much kindness you spread in the world, and how much joy you find in the everyday moments. It's about realizing that the most valuable things in life aren't things at all, they're the people we love, the experiences we share, and the legacy we leave behind. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that money is evil or that we should all strive to live in poverty, but it's important to remember that money is just a tool, a means to an end. It's up to us to decide what that end will be. Will we use our resources to chase fleeting pleasures and material possessions, or will we use them to make a difference in the world and leave a legacy that extends far beyond ourselves? The choice is ours to make, and it defines who we are.